Edgy, preachy, self-referential, satirical. Netflix Devil May Cry is proof some millennials still think we're living in the 2000s. The series creator Adi Shankar, in his postmodernist ideology pushed by the daytime TV all millennials were forced to grow up with, must have thought, do you know what Devil May Cry needs? Cynicism, irony, and millennial writing. Lord give me strength. This was a tough watch. There were so many times throughout this series where I almost threw in the towel. I don't know how they managed to fuck up a story as simple as Devil May Cry, but Adi Shankar somehow managed to do so. For that reason, I'm gonna call this adaptation Devil May Slop, not only as a descriptive label, but also as a way to differentiate it from the original. For the people unfamiliar with the original story, Devil May Cry takes place in a world where hell and demons are real. There we follow one particular demon hunter named Dante. Dante is a bit of a stereotypical character by today's standards, the merc with a mouth, kinda like Deadpool or John Constantine. Dante has swag, a big mouth, and is gifted with supernatural strength, healing, and agility. As the story progresses, we slowly get to know our guy's background and the reason why he's got such powers. Long story short, he is the son of a legendary demon that betrayed the legions of hell and saved humanity by sacrificing himself in the process. And all of this because he fell in love with a human woman. Needless to say, they had kids, twins, Dante and Virgil, a reference to the Divine Comedy. Despite their strong connection from birth, these two grow up to become complete opposite sides of each other. One wants to save our world, embracing his humanity. The other wants to bring a new age for demons in hell and rule over it, embracing his demonic nature. Despite the grandiose narrative, these games are actually pretty close and personal, meaning the stories for each entry were always centered around the main character, Dante, and his relationships with other characters more than the overall world it takes place in. Humanity's reaction to these demon invasions was always an afterthought. Whatever we understand from the human's perspective always came from secondary characters that join in Dante's struggle to save the world. On a side note, the game's time continuity has always been a bit all over the place. From their official release, DMC1 takes place after 3, so in simple terms, the chronological order is DMC3, 1, 2, 4, and 5. But most of us first play DMC3, which is the entry the Netflix adaptation seems to be heavily based on. Anyway, every time the game tried focusing on the war between demons and humans, the quality always took a nosedive. And you know what? That's always been the franchise's biggest strength. Why focus on bullshit world building when all you do in these games is kill demons while looking cool? That's all you really need in a video game. If you were to explore universal concepts, you'd eventually run into a wall. The wall of politics, culture, and morality. In the games, demons are evil. You kick their asses and send them back to hell. Plain and simple. There's really no need to find a deeper meaning in that, much less bog down the audience with heavy-handed exposition. But that's exactly what the Netflix adaptation does. Not only do they include characters whose sole purpose is shouting exposition, they had to turn some of the demons into refugees to remind the audience what the current thing is. What? You thought you could escape the acceptable moral going narrative by watching a Demon Hunter TV show? Wrong. Devil May Slop is millennial core to the highest degree. The writers and producers of this show are stuck in the 2000s, a period when everyone was trying to be anti-establishment, even if they didn't know what the fuck the establishment was. They just knew they wanted to be seen as the heroes going against the popular ideological narrative. So they push against traditions as much as they could by adopting the philosophy of postmodernism. In other words, the millennial never took anything seriously, and for a short while it worked. Only problem is, we've gone way past that brief period in time when not giving a shit about anything while pushing for progressive ideologies was edgy. In today's world, it's these ideologies that dominate the public discourse. So all of these old punks are left with is creating fictional narratives that reflect what once was their old subjective view of the world, rather than the actual one. They haven't moved a single fucking step in 20 years. Which is why there's such a massive cognitive dissonance gap between viewer and content creator with these adaptations. Especially when the viewership is composed by a large population of young Zoomers that never saw or experienced the kind of world Millennials or Gen Xers live through. In other words, these fuckers are not raging against the machine, they are for it. They are the machine. After years of rebelling against it, Gen X and Millennials have managed to dethrone the boomers' grasp on socio-cultural narrative slop, only to replace them with even bigger slop, placing themselves as the new thought police. It's fucking unbelievable. The classic story of a rebel dethroning a tyrant, only to become an even bigger tyrant. Every time these guys come up with any ideas, they are all aimed at projecting the approved establishment's culture. So that is inclusion, diversity, and tolerance for the intolerable. But only for the West, of course. Israel can keep their borders closed for any refugees or be as ethnocentric as they want. I'm surprised the show didn't solve the demon invasion problem by sending $50 billion to Israel. Anyway, Devil May Slop starts with a heist in the Vatican City. The group of thieves trying to pull this off manage to break into the treasure chamber, only to be revealed by their contractor what the real goal is: the legendary sword from the demon Sparta. The contractor, a dude with the head of a rabbit, then immediately proceeds to preach to the audience how hypocritical and evil Americans are.
Americans, the most dependable of your species. Anything that doesn't fit your narrow understanding, you shoot, bomb, or burn without hesitation.
Cry me a fucking river, pussies. You still won't convince me you have the moral high ground. We're 2 fucking minutes in, and there's already sanctimonious preaching. If you're still watching this shit, either nothing can scare you or you're a brainless fucking fag. So anyway, news of this attack on the Vatican spread all over the world, and rumors of demons start circulating. The US government picks up on the thieves' body cam footage. Weird enough to have body cameras for a group of thieves, but okay. I guess they had to come up with some bullshit to let the plot happen. So, the goal for the first few episodes is trying to figure out what the Rabbit Man is up to and whatever he's looking for. Enter our main character, Dante. Looking at Devil May Slop's version of Dante only makes me appreciate Capcom's original version even more. It's crazy how they managed to make a cocky son of a bitch likable in the games, because the series clearly fails at it. Netflix Dante is a lame-ass, edgy, and cringy kid with an outdated sense of humor. His jokes don't land, and whenever they don't land, he tries to be self-referential as an escape route, as if the writers themselves knew they had no real sense of humor, but still needed something to connect with today's kids. Clearly failing to understand what kids find funny these days. Here's a hint: no one likes assholes who don't take anything seriously. That was millennial humor. You're all too old to be writing and funding shit like this. They tried to make Dante goofy and relatable, but it all comes across forced, pathetic, and ridiculous. Let it go, millennials. You're all outdated. Your time is gone. You don't have mojo anymore. Only an old loser with no personality must have written this shit. Either that or a woman, possibly both. So, by episode 2, we know the writing quality is down the gutter. There's really no saving this stuff, and it all keeps going downhill. This is good news in a way, as hopefully it gives smart people a chance to drop this slop by now. As what comes next is not only an even bigger disappointment, it's a steaming pile of shit. So, the US government figures out Rabbit Man is looking for Dante's medallion, which is the key to opening the portal between hell and our world, and starts gathering demon hunters to capture him down and retrieve said amulet. Unknown to these mercenaries is that they are being used as a distraction for the real operatives in this mission, Darkham. The leader of this demon hunter government agency group is none other than Lady. And of course, being the postmodernist pieces of shit that they are, Netflix had to subvert our expectations and turn the character into an insufferable cunt that curses like a sailor and needs no man to rescue her. So, the most unladylike persona you can think of. A fucking feminist. This bitch curses more than me. All of her sex appeal is gone too, by the way. She has no ass, no curves, no smile. A destruction of her original character, basically. The girl bossing gets so bad, there's a point in the story where the main villain shows up with a full squad of roided up demons, and Lady basically kills them all by herself. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Lady in the games was no pushover, but to have a regular woman handle shit on the same level as Dante, without even her trademark rocket launcher, is ridiculous. There's even a point where the rest of the army shows up after the carnage is over, sees all the dead demons and asks who the fuck did it. And then when the camera pans out to Dante, it immediately refocuses on Lady. Okay bro, next time just make a Devil May Cry spin-off. Instead of taking the spotlight from the legacy main character the entire thing is originally based on. Anyway, the main narrative of the story doesn't really change that much from the original game. It's basically a battle to stop the villains from opening the gates of hell and invading the human world. So I'll skip to the climax of the series. Dante fights the main villain, kills him, and saves the world. Yeah, Devil May Cry has always been that simple as a story. It really doesn't need much else. But of course, Netflix had to fuck it up again. So Dante gets betrayed by Lady, to no one's fucking surprise except his own. Like, really dude? She's a government lapdog. Why turn your back? So after saving the world, Dante gets captured by the Vice President of the United States, who turns out to be evil, of course, because he's white, and gets sent to the facility built in hell by the government. Immediately, almost as if the creators were feeling like the original plot narrative was overshadowing their flawless creativity, they turned the next few minutes into a montage mirroring the war in the Middle East with American Idiot by Green Day playing in the background. Fucking... If I was left in a room with the devil and Adi Shankar tied to a chair and had a gun with 2 bullets, I should Adi twice. In Minecraft, of course. Anyway, that's it. That's the ending. They tease Virgil showing up to rescue all the demons imprisoned in this secret base, including his brother Dante, and then the credits roll. What a massive turd of a slop. I haven't even mentioned the animation, by the way. Western animation used to mean something. It was very unique, very detailed in its own unique way, to the point it was the go-to reference for all kinds of animations from all over the world. That's changed completely. It's now Westerners trying to copy anime from Japan. It comes as a weird blend between anime and Justice League type of art style that simply doesn't work out. Unfortunately, I couldn't find what the budget was for Devil May Slop, but if this is the best today's Western animators can do, we're fucked. Not only are the colors bland and the textures too cartoony, it has the same problem other Western animated series have. There are frames where the characters simply don't look alive, as if they were sliding across frames. The frames themselves vary between smooth to choppy as fuck. And whenever there's continuous shots, the scenes transition to 3D. But not the 3D style of animation the West is famous for, no. It's the ugly-ass PS2 animation that's plagued modern anime for around 10 years at this point. The whole thing is difficult to watch. So, for its artistic value alone, this series is also a failure. If this is the kind of style Netflix is gonna use from now on, drop any hype for any future series they announce. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Thanks for listening, bye.
I've been denied all the best, ultra